Hey, it's me, James, and in this video, I'm going to be doing the lightning round oracle card pull session for Sagittarius season. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining me for this video. If this is your first time here, I'd like to say welcome. And if you're a returning viewer and visitor, I'd like to say welcome back. As I said in the opener, this is the monthly oracle card pull session, which I now call the lightning round session, and we're going to be doing it for Sagittarius season because the sun has now moved from Scorpio into Sagittarius. So I do these once a month, and I focus on pulling one card for every zodiac sun sign out there. But you could turn this into a 3-card reading if you just happen to know what your sun sign is, which at this point, if you're watching the video, I would hope that's the case, your moon sign and your rising sign, because there'll be a card for each sign. So then you could give yourself a 3-card reading combining those particular messages. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. I'm so excited about this session. I'm filming this on the day after Thanksgiving. I intended to actually shoot this video yesterday, but what happened was I got into a creative zone and I started working on another deck, and I'm like, I want to say 3/4 of the way through it. I was in a zone yesterday. I almost forgot to eat yesterday. That's how excited I was about the creation process and how the deck was coming along. So I will be talking more about that as time goes on. Okay, but for today, I'm going to be using my latest deck creation, my Gypsy Witch Oracle. If you are no stranger to my videos, then you will know that this deck is my particular take on the classic Gypsy Witch fortune-telling playing cards. Okay, so I have the deck in hand. I'm shuffling the cards, and as I shuffle the cards, like I said earlier, I'm going to be pulling one card for every zodiac sign, and you're going to get a twofold message because each card has a symbol and a playing card insert. So I'm going to be riffing on one, the other, or both. So I'm shuffling the cards, and I'm doing it so you can somewhat see it on camera. And I'm just setting the intention that each zodiac sign that gets a card, that it will be helpful, beneficial in terms of insight, guidance, or advice. Alright. So now I'm on the cards are on the table. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. You won't be able to see it, but you will hear it. I'll do that feeling 3 times. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck. And just as I do every month for these sessions, I'm just going to pull right off the top of the deck for each sign. And I have the signs listed in the order that I want to move through. And so I have my pad, my pen, and I will be crossing them off as we get through them because I cannot commit these to memory. Alright, so for Sagittarius, so now the way that you could look at this is that this is for your sun, moon, or rising if you're a Sagittarian, or we could look at this as a collective message for the season, yes, because we are all moving through Sagittarius season. So the card is, okay, and I'm going to have to pull another card. So here we have the Gentleman card. Now in my particular deck, I have 2 Gentleman cards. So this would not be the standard. This is actually the variant card. So for me, as I feel like in my deck, the other Gentleman card represents me. So this is a focus on a man who is not me. That's the way I would look at it for myself. Now, the interesting thing that I have about this particular image is that he is holding a teacup. So this could be about tea, you know, and I think about the expression spilling tea, right? So this may be for those of us moving through this season, that there may be a man who's going to play a significant role or part, and he may be spilling the tea, quote unquote, which means that there may be some information being shared that may be either really not any of our particular business. Like, it doesn't directly involve us, and maybe it doesn't even indirectly involve us, right? And so we have to be maybe a little bit selective as to how we are going to handle receiving that information. Yes? So there may be that particular thing. So I'm going to pull another card to see more clarity around the potential role this person might play. But that is usually my go-to meaning for the variant gentleman card. I understand it is not me, but this person may play a significant role or part because it is a significator card. And then for me, the tea cup is a symbol for spilling the tea, possibly. Okay, so now the next card, it would be Clover. Okay, so now I ask myself when I pull this card, what role does this person bring? Okay, so the tea may involve an opportunity, right? Because Clover for me is about luck, opportunity. It may be involving a small window of time, because for me the Clover represents something that's brief in nature, right? So there's that. And it could also be coming with some level of risk or a gamble. So now if it's spilling the tea, and spilling the tea implies, gossip, like I said, it's either information or a conversation that doesn't involve you either directly or indirectly, right? But you are in the space to receive that information, right? So it could be a matter of, what do you do with it? Is it about a risk? Is there some gamble attached to it? That kind of thing. But it could also be that a person who plays a significant role or part as the month unfolds may be presenting you with an opportunity, and you have to decide what you're going to do with it, especially if there's a small window of time, and that usually implies like you don't have a lot of time to think about it, that kind of thing. So that is what I'm seeing with both the Gentleman variant card and the Clover card. Now, let's take a look at the playing card inserts, yeah? Okay, so now I noticed with the Two of Diamonds, that is the playing card insert here, is that sometimes this card can be about invitations to lunch or dinner. That is one of my personal meanings with it, and that would make sense with him drinking tea, yeah? So it could be like there's a person who has a significant role or part, and maybe there is a meal attached to it, right? It could also be in terms of, I talked about spilling the tea, so to speak. The Two of Diamonds can represent sharing. That's the number 2, right? Sharing something valuable with another person. So something of value, right? So this could be a valuable relationship, or that the contents of the tea may hold some value after all. And that would make sense if there's an opportunity, right, attached to whatever that information is, yes? So now, let's take a look at the insert on the Clover. This is the Five of Clubs. For me, the first thing that I think of with the Five of Clubs, it usually represents a job change or a change in work or business. So that may be what is involved with the opportunity being presented by the Clover, yeah? So it could just be a change in job, change in work, change in business. It could be, the change could be like if you are working for the man, so to speak, like you have a job out in the world. It could just be that there's going to be a time of busyness. For me, this card represents activity, right? So job-related activity, working with your hands, right? So it's about being active. If it's about it may be a self-employment opportunity, right, to branch out and do your own thing, then it could just be a job change in that regard. It could also be that there may be an opportunity to return to the world of work. That's another meaning for the Five of Clubs with me. And in that regard, it could be a job interview, right? This card can be about a job interview. So those are some of the things that might be involved with the Clover. So that is for Sagittarius. I'm going to go ahead and cross that off. Now we're going to move into the next sign, Capricorn. So for Capricorn, we have one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is the dog card. So the focus here could be on friends and friendship. It's about partners or partnerships. It's also about companions. Now, the dog could be a literal, a four-legged companion, right? Or it could be more of the two-legged human variety, right? With that in mind, this is a card that talks about, being trustworthy. So there's maybe issues around trust in regard to either relationships, friendships, things of that nature, right? It could also be about help, support. Now, when I talk about help and support with the dog, it could be like either you're going to be on the receiving end of that or you're going to be on the giving end of that, meaning that you're going to offer that to people, right? And I'm a big believer in the law of circulation, right? What we put out there comes back to us, right? So if you're feeling like I need support, it might be a matter of you being willing to support someone else in order to receive that support, yes? It's also about advice, this card. So it could be about guidance or advice. So it could be a matter of pay close attention, because the dog being an animal, then the secondary message here is about trusting your instincts, right? So it could be a matter of trusting your instincts when it comes to help being offered, right? Support being offered, or advice being given. When it comes to advice, I'm always saying, like, consider the source, and consider whether or not this advice being offered was solicited or unsolicited. Big difference, right? If you didn't ask for it, then it might be a matter of taking into account the possibility as to why a person might suggest something that you did not ask for, right? And if you're asking for advice, be very careful on what is said to you in return, right? Because it may be a matter of somebody saying what you need to hear versus what you want to hear, yeah? So now, the playing card insert is the Four of Diamonds. This is really about security. It's usually about financial stability and security, or some kind of security regarding assets or some sort of material matter or concern, yeah? So it could just be a matter of maybe you're seeking help, support, or advice regarding a financial matter, or the help, support, or advice being offered is we're going to regard your financial stability and security, yes? So that's what I want to offer with Dog and the Four of Diamonds, and that was for Capricorn. Next up, we have Aquarius. So for Aquarius, we have, and it's so funny, I just talked about finances, because here we have the fish card, and the chief meaning of the fish card is about money, finance, wealth, abundance, yeah? So for Aquarians, this might be a matter of paying attention to your cash flow. The fish are in water, so it's all about, and I learned this not too long ago from another YouTuber who has a channel, the Esoteric Cross. I really just got into him not too long ago, and he really talks about how we language money in connection with water. Things like cash flow, liquidating assets, right? Liquid assets, right? Income streams, revenue streams, right? He mentioned cash flow and liquidating assets, and then made me think of the idea about income streams, revenue streams, right? So this is a matter of maybe just taking a look at your money and how it flows in and out, yeah? Now, some other meanings that have nothing to do with money, this could just be a matter of learning to be more in the flow, right? Instead of fighting the current, it could just be a matter of just going with the flow. And then the last thing I would suggest, that this might be the season for you to circulate more, right? Because this card is about circulation, right? Just as money circulates in the economy, yeah, this can also be about how you circulate through certain waters or certain pools, yeah? Now, the other thing I will say about fish, if we're talking about maybe relationships, relating to other people, this could be suggesting that you may be seeking more depth, right? The fish are in water, underneath the water surface, right? So there may be something about depth, that you are seeking more depth in your relationships with other people, right? Or what's coming to me in the moment is that maybe you are being encouraged to go more deeply into certain waters, like testing the waters of a particular topic. It might be spiritual material or something spiritually related, because the fish for me is a symbol of spirituality, yeah? So it could just be a matter of depth, and how deep are you willing to go? So that is what I'm going to offer for Aquarius. Oh, and as I put the card down, I realized I did not do the playing card insert. Please forgive me. So here we have the Four of Hearts. So much like the Four of Diamonds, the 4 is a number of either formation or stability and security. Here, if we're talking about pools and circulating, right? Circulating in certain pools with certain types of people, then it could just be a matter of, and this makes sense with the idea about depth, where I talked about depth in relationships. The Four of Hearts is known as an intimacy card, right? So it could just be a matter of seeking more closeness in relationships, and that doesn't necessarily mean physical intimacy, right? That is one aspect of the card, but that's not the only way we are intimate with people, yeah? So it could just be a matter of, if you're feeling the need for more depth and intimacy in your relationships, then this is suggesting on some level you need to feel safe in order to do that, because again, this is about safety and stability, right? But it's the emotional kind, whereas the Four of Diamonds is the physical kind or the material kind, yeah? So it's about feeling safe in relationships with other people, right? And that implies a little bit of vulnerability. We can only have intimate moments with people when we're feeling safe, and safe to be vulnerable, meaning like I'm exposing or I'm sharing a personal aspect of myself, yes? So that's what I want to offer with the Four of Hearts as your playing card insert. And again, that was for Aquarius. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Pisces. And I'm eager to see what this is, because you cannot make this stuff up, because I'm Piscean, right? So what did I draw? I drew the Gentleman card, right? Didn't I talk about this with the Variant Gentleman card, right? So for Pisceans, and especially Piscean males, right? If you are a male and you're watching this, and this card represents you. So you are going to be going through a significant moment in time this season. Now I'm really excited, right, to see what the next card is, right? Because I'm going to pull another card, because the chief message of the Gentleman card is that it just is a significator card. And I shouldn't say just, it is a significator card, which means that it represents a male. So if you're male, this represents you. If you're not male, then if you're my female Pisceans out there, then this would suggest that there's going to be a man who's going to be playing a significant role or part in how your Sagittarius season or the month unfolds for you. So now, let's look at the playing card insert. So now, here we have the Two of Hearts, right? So this could be about forming an emotional bond or connection with another person, right? This could be sharing something of a mutual interest, right? Because there's two hearts and they're identical, right? So there is that. For me, the Two of Hearts is also a card that talks about expectations. So now, for me, since I'm identifying with the Gentleman aspect of the card, this is a month for me to kind of maybe manage my expectations, especially in my relationships to other people, right? Especially maybe if I want to offer help or support. The number 2 is about help or support, right? So especially if I'm offering help or support, I may be expecting help and support in return, and it may not come through the avenue in which I offered the help and support, meaning like it's not going to come back from the same person or people, yeah? So, but again, if I go with the idea that what I put out there comes back to me, I may have to just remember not to expect it to come from the same source that I directed it to, yeah? All right, so that is the first thing. So now let's pull another card. Again. Okay. So here we have, as the secondary card, is the Railroad card. So now, this card for me talks about the journey through life, yeah? Because this talks about going the distance. That's one of my meanings for it. But it could also be talking about how you've come a long way, right? Here we have in the playing card insert is the Two of Clubs. That is a suit that talks about progress, yes? So here we have the idea about seeing how far you've come in your journey through life, or that if you are on a journey, whether it's literal or metaphorical, it may imply distance, and maybe you have some ways to go, yeah? But or that could be like if you're anticipating something, then this could be something that is some time off, or, you know, there's still a long way to go kind of thing. Right now, for me, this is also a pun for tracks, because it's a railroad track, right? So keeping track of something, right? So it could just be a matter of something coming my way, and I order lots of stuff, so I'm thinking like this may be something that's coming my way, but it's coming from a long way. And then it would be, if it's a shipment of something, then there's a tracking number, yeah? So I get to keep track of its progress as it makes its way to me. But it could be, and I'm thinking about something that I have coming from overseas, actually coming from Italy. So it could just be a matter of like, you know, just keeping a track on it, or that there may be something involving tracking its progress, yeah? So now, the Two of Clubs Can also be about, because I talked about the suit of clubs being about progress, this could also be about a mutually beneficial relationship. And so now let's hold this back up, right? Because we had the 2 of hearts here. So now we have the number 2 repeating, right? So there's something about, you know, help, support, advice, you know, a connection, a bond, sharing, right? So for me, the 2 of clubs is about a relationship that works. It may not necessarily be about work or business, because the suit of clubs is a work or business suit, right? But it also represents the public or something social, right? So this could be a friendship, it could be a working relationship, it could be a business partnership, right? And it reminds me about, for me, as both a person who is an employee and, you know, having my own business, this could be something service-based or service-related, like I'm offering a service to somebody else, right? And the last thing I will share is that this card can represent a gift, right? So it could be a gift that's being exchanged, yeah? But this card is talking about something that is mutually beneficial. So now going back to my talk about the expectations, right? If I'm going to offer help, support, or advice, it should be in a relationship that is mutually beneficial, right? Not a one-sided relationship where one person's doing all the giving and one person's doing all the receiving, yeah? But it could just be a matter of keeping track when it comes to relationships for me. And I'm offering that I'm sure I'm not the only Piscean male watching this, yeah? So those are my messages for Pisceans with the Gentleman and the Railroad card. Next up, we have Aries. And here we have the Children card. So this could be literally like, okay, there's going to be some focus or attention either on a child or children. If you have multiple children, that is, if you're a parent or maybe somebody who works closely with children, yeah? And if that's not the case, then this card can be talking about a couple of things. Number one, it could be like the beginning phase of something, the start of something new being ushered into your life, yeah? It could also be that you're being encouraged to have a more playful attitude, right? Because children are playful, right? So this could be a card that represents having a playful attitude, having a sense of fun. I'm thinking about the expression about, you know, the eyes of a child, like seeing life through the eyes of a child or seeing the world through the eyes of a child, because a child usually has such awe because a lot of times they're seeing something for the first time, yeah? So it could just be a matter of like, how can you have a sense of childlike wonder as you move through this Sagittarius season, yeah? So that's the first thing I'm going to offer. Now, the playing card insert, we have the Queen of Diamonds. One of the things that I associate with the Queen of Diamonds is that she's known as either the stepmother or the mother-in-law. So there's something about a mothering aspect. And that, again, that would fit is if there are children involved, yeah? And especially stepchildren, is about caring and nurturing for children that you did not give birth to in some shape, form, or regard, yeah? Now, the other thing with the Queen of Diamonds is she's just about having a caring and nurturing attitude, right? So it could be a matter of caring and nurturing for the physical and the material, things in the physical world, things in the material world, because it is coming from the suit of diamonds, right? Or it could just be a matter of, you know, diamonds also represent energy. So how can you care and nurture your own energy, right? And I'm adding, that may be a new thing, right? This card could be talking about self-care, right? Managing your energy, right? So it could just be a matter of, if that's a new thing for you, how are you going to go about it, right? And then with the children, it would be a suggestion to start small, right? If you are flipping the script, meaning like this is really new to you, but you're deciding that it's important because you matter. Yeah, diamonds are about the material and matter, right? Because you matter. Then it could just be saying, start small. Give yourself the permission to start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life, right? But start somewhere. So that's what I want to offer about children and the Queen of Diamonds. That was for Aries. Next up we have Taurus. Okay, for Taurians we have the Tower card. So now this card can represent a couple of things. I'm going to go with the idea like maybe first and foremost, this may be signaling a need to be alone. This card can be about being alone, a period of withdrawal, yeah, isolation, that kind of thing. So it could just be a matter of taking a break from the busyness of life, giving yourself a break, giving yourself a permission to take a break, to take a step back, right? Now, it could go the other way around. You could be in your quote-unquote ivory tower, and this is maybe signaling it's time to come down out of the tower and get back out into the world, so to speak, yeah? Because we all need to do that temporarily, but at some point, we have to kind of reemerge. So it could either be twofold. Either you need to step back, or you need to find a way to reemerge, yeah? Now, this is also about companies, corporations, firms. So it may be, if you work with a company, corporation, or firm, there may be something about that that's going to be highlighted this particular month, right? It could also be if you are a working person, maybe you don't work for a company, corporation, or firm, but maybe you do freelance work. This card highlights freelance work, right? And then the last thing I will offer with the Tower, this is a card that can talk about things being official. So this could be about rules, regulations, policies, yeah? And as I was talking about that, one of the things that's also coming to me in the moment is that when I talked about stepping back, sometimes this card with the idea about things becoming official, this could be about maybe somebody who is in the process of separation or divorce even, and that becoming official or legal, because this is another one of the meanings for the Tower card. So that's what I'm seeing with that. Now, the insert here is the 10 of clubs. So now I talked about a corporation or a company or a firm. One of my meanings for the 10 of clubs is a small business, right? And that would make sense maybe if you're doing freelance work, right? Or maybe something of a contractual nature with an existing company, corporation, or firm, right? You're not an established part of that system, but you have plugged yourself in, either doing freelance work or that you are on contract, or something of that nature, right? This card would suggest in that regard that there may be a lot of work to do, because the 10 represents a lot of something, right? Now, for me personally, I see this as twofold. I have a small business, so the 10 of clubs for me can represent a small business, like I said, but it could also represent retail, right? And so with this, if this were for me, then this would be about being an employee within a retail establishment, 10 of clubs, but it is a large company, corporation, right? Meaning like the particular retail establishment that I work for operates in several states in the United States, yeah? So it has more of a corporation type feel to it, right? Because there's so many locations, right? So there's that to consider. Now, the 10 of clubs can also be a card that talks about a journey, right? It usually talks about, so this could be a business travel card. It could be a journey over water. So if you're working for a company, corporation, or firm, maybe you're going to, another branch, like maybe their corporate offices or their headquarters that's located somewhere else, maybe either domestically or internationally, yeah? But that's what I want to say with the 10 of clubs. It usually represents either small business, a retail establishment, or a lot of work to do, right? So you may find yourself extremely busy this season. So that was for Taurus. Next up we have Gemini. And so for Gemini we have the Whip card. Okay, so now I'm going to go with the positive and then the not so positive, because this can be seen as a challenging card, the positive, right? So this card could be coming up for you because there is something that is repetitive taking place, because this card can represent repetition, repetitive, that you are working through or sorting out. That's the positive thing. Like there may be something that's going on and we're trying to work our way through it, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is that this card can be about exercise. So this could be about working out. It's about physical activity, right? It could be that you are being encouraged to get more exercise, the idea of working out, right? Working out regularly. Or that you are either going to be working with a trainer, or that maybe you are a trainer, right? Maybe that's what you do for work, right? So, but however you want to look at it, it's about working out. So it could be the idea of I'm working through a situation, I'm finding ways to work it out, especially if it's something that's happening repetitively, or I'm being urged to get some physical exercise either by myself or with the assistance of a trainer. Now, this could also be about job training, right? So it could be on the job that maybe if you're seeking a new avenue in the work that you're doing, it may involve or entail some kind of training, right? Now, the not so positive side. Now, if you are doing things like training or working out or something, the challenge here is that you need to be disciplined, right? This card is about discipline, right? Now, it could also be like if you've gotten yourself into some trouble, because this card in the negative sense or challenging sense is about arguments, debates, being angry, finding yourself and maybe even gotten so angry that the altercations are possible. Yeah, physical altercations. Then this card could be about just knowing that maybe you have to exercise some discipline. If you are one who gets angry really easily, like you lose your temper really easily, then just asking you to manage that, right? To get that under greater control, right? Or if there has been something that has taken place already, then it may be a matter of you're being kind of cautioned about disciplinary action or proceedings, right? I'm asking what else do I want to say about this card? Yeah, I would just say in a more challenging sense, it's really about anger and anger management, yeah? So now I'm looking at the insert. Here we have the 10 of spades. Now the 10 of spades, now this would be in connection to the anger aspects of the card that I talked about, right? Because the 10 of spades is about emotional upset, right? And so it's, again, you're being encouraged with the symbol and the playing card insert to really pay attention to your emotional reaction and responses to things, especially if maybe you fly off the handle. I'm seeing in the expression in my head, you lose it really easily, right? So that's what I'm seeing with that. Now, the 10 of spades can also be about the transition or the ending of a difficulty, and that would come back. We're coming full circle. That would come back to the idea where I talked about, working something out or sorting something out, yeah? And it could just be a matter of it's a problem, but it could potentially reach its end because that's the 10. The 10 is a transition, right? So, and it could just be a matter of someone being concerned about the fear of failure and needing to work that out. So that is what I want to offer with the whip and the 10 of spades. That was for Gemini. Next up we have Cancer. For Cancer we have the birds. Okay, so now this is all about communication and usually verbal communication. I have 2 parrots on the card to symbolize the idea about verbal communication, but it could also be a couple, since there's 2, so this could be a couple, this could be a friendship, partnership, anything involving relationship with another person. So it's very important to pay attention to communication on both sides, right? Making sure that if you articulating something, are you being clear in what it is that you're saying? Are you being clear in getting your point across? Are you understanding the other person? Is the other person communicating clearly with you, right? Now the other thing that's just coming to me in the moment, and I love this. This is just riffing on the image of a parrot. Right, there's 2 and they look the same. So it could just be a matter of maybe adopting a similar approach as someone else in order to make the relationship work. Maybe adopting a similar communication style, or that there is no need to be a duplicate to someone else, right? This could be an encouragement to kind of break out of the mold that maybe somebody else has put you in, right? Especially if it's similar to them as an identity, yeah? This could be an encouragement to kind of maybe be more of who you are. And then the other thing I might say, this could be not necessarily just a romantic partnership. This could be twins, right? People who are identical. So it could be a relationship with twins. It could also be, and I don't subscribe to this because I know very little about it. And because I'm not in a relationship, I'm blissfully single. So this is not my forte. But what's coming to me in the moment is the idea like maybe somebody dealing with a twin flame issue or dynamic or something like that, right? Again, that's not my forte, but I'm being told to say it, so I'm saying it. Right, notice what I said being told, right? The parrot repeats what it's being told to say, right? So I'm being told, right? I got to download to talk about the twin flame thing. So I'm just saying what I was told to say, right? So now let's take a look at the playing card insert. Yeah, okay. So now the Ace of Diamonds is a playing card insert. This card is known as the engagement ring card. So it could just be a matter, if we're talking about a relationship, this could be like it's becoming serious, right? We're proposing something to another person, right? It could also be about paying attention to what you are engaging in over the course of the month, especially if it involves another person, right? This is about a ring, so a ring can symbolize commitments. This could be a matter of, are you honoring the commitments that you're making? Are you keeping the promises that you're making, both to yourself and to other people, right? That's what I always talk about with the idea of a ring, right? But it could also be asking you to pay attention to the cycles and patterns that happen within an existing relationship. And it could be a matter of communication being the central issue or focus, right? So when you're making a promise, you're making it verbally, right? Pay attention, like, are you intending to keep the promise that you are uttering to another person or even to yourself, right? So that's what I want to offer with birds and the Ace of Diamonds. That was for Cancer. Next up we have Leo. And for Leo, okay. So for Leo people, we have the sickle card. This is all about the process of elimination and removal. What do you need to cut out of your life at this point in time? This is talking about pruning, yeah? It's about the elimination of what is no longer serving and supporting you, right? Especially if you feel a sense of either pain by another person or an experience, if you feel a sense of woundedness, right? That's the sharp end of the sickle, right? This card can be about injury. That could be physical injury, emotional injury, mental injury, right? Anywhere where you feel a sense of pain, hurt, or woundedness, right? And it could be a matter of, I'm being told to say that, pay attention if it's self-inflicted, meaning like you are doing it to yourself. Why would you do that to yourself, right? It could be a matter of cut that out, right? And it could be a matter of, now, if it's inflicted by another person, like, okay, this could be a matter of what are you willing to do differently so you don't have to experience that hurt, pain, or sense of woundedness, yeah? Now, much like I talked about with the Tower, I talked about the sense of separation or divorce even. Same thing here. This card can be about taking a break from people, right? It could be about a split, a sense of separation, disconnection, right? Maybe what do you need to disconnect from, or who do you need to disconnect from? What do you need to unplug from, right? Whether it's temporary or maybe it's more permanent in nature, right? Now, in the background, there's wheat in the background. So this could be also a time of harvest, right? So for me, the wheat symbolizes separating the wheat from the chaff, right? So separating what's valuable from what's no longer valuable in your life, right? So it could be a matter of doing that, or it could just be a matter of, as a symbol of harvest, it's about reaping what you sow, right? So if you are reaping things that you no longer want or no longer feel that are serving and supporting you, right? Then it could be a matter of, this is a time to set new intentions, plant new seeds, right? But it could just be a matter of taking a good look at what's being harvested in your life. And if you don't like what you're reaping, then there's the blade is saying, what do you need to do differently? What would you need to cut out? What would you need to remove? What would you need to eliminate? So that's what I'm going to offer with the sickle and the I didn't do the 10 of diamonds. Okay, so 10 of diamonds. Now, this is a career card, right? So it could just be a matter of maybe something you need to cut out or remove, something that's no longer serving and supporting you, maybe career-related or career-based, right? It can also be about investments. So now what I talked about reaping, right? So this could be about financial investments, but since I am not a financial advisor or planner, that's my disclaimer, I'm going to go with the idea of maybe more metaphorical investment, right? What are you investing your time, energy, resources in? Yeah, that would be all diamonds, right? What are you putting your time, energy into? And are you reaping a return on that level of investment? And if not, this is getting you again to say, what new seeds am I willing to plant so I can reap a different harvest? Yeah? And then the last thing I will say is that if there is some sort of disconnection going on involving people, relationships, things of that nature, the Ten of Diamonds suggests that you may be moving to a higher level, meaning like you are, the best way I could put it is like this is a card of ascension. I'm moving away from the more material aspects of life and I'm moving more towards the spiritual, yeah? So it could just be a matter of, as you are ascending, quote unquote, spiritually speaking, it may be a matter of taking a look at our relationships, and especially the ones that are not going to be serving and supporting you as you are moving forward, yeah? It could be, what's coming to me in the moment is that not every, but most relationships have a season, right? And so maybe you are outgrowing certain relationships and as you're moving on, yeah? So just keep that in mind. So that's what I want to offer with the 10 of Diamonds. And now I'm feeling complete with that. That was for Leo. Next up we have Virgo. For Virgo we have the Clouds. Okay, so now the Clouds is a card that talks about confusion, uncertainty, doubt. So this could be self-doubt or doubt about the atmosphere. Now it's a nice way of saying the environments that we are in, right? So it could be a matter of, people around you. There's an expression that I heard when I relocated from New Jersey to South Carolina. They have an expression called causing confusion, right? So it could just be a matter of people in your environment, your atmosphere are causing confusion, right? And so it's a matter of, maybe removing yourself from that somehow, some way, right? But if it's about self-doubt, it's a matter of, it's about changing your way of thinking. So what would you need to do? What new thought could you have that would reframe your experience to remove the doubt, right? But this card just represents moving through a time of uncertainty, And then it could just be a matter of I would say that there's a need for information that you don't have. If you're uncertain about something, that there's a call for becoming more informed. So what information could you gather that would help remove the sense of confusion or uncertainty? If there's something you can actually do about it, that is, right? So that's what I want to offer with the Clouds. The insert is the 7 of Spades. So now, this is about improving some kind of difficulty, because the 7 for me is a number of improvement, yeah? And then the Spades would be about a difficulty, a problem, or a challenge. So this is about maybe the difficulty in improving a problem. And maybe that's what's going on with the uncertainty or the confusion or the doubt, because maybe it's an ongoing issue or it's been going on for some time, and it's a matter of what can I do to remedy this? What can I do to improve this? What can I do to move through this, right? The first thing I want to offer with Clouds, even though I talked about maybe, it's been an occurrence for some time, is that the Clouds can represent something fleeting. So on some level, clouds are transitory, transitional, right? So it could be saying, it could be on its way out, right? That we have the light side of the clouds and the dark side, right? So it could just be a matter of, the light breaking through the stormy weather, so to speak, right? Now, in addition to what I talked about with the 7 of Spades about the difficulty improving a problem, this could also be a card of faith, right? It's a need to have faith, right? So maybe in the moments where maybe you've done all you can do and you're feeling like there's nothing more you can do, it's urging you to still have faith. Now, it could also be a crisis of faith, right? And so maybe that's also another aspect of the difficulty, the confusion or doubt. Maybe something that you believed either having to do with a particular religion or spiritual path, maybe that is shifting and changing for you, and it's leaving you in a place of confusion, uncertainty, or doubt, right? And in this case, it would be, still having faith that you will move through it, that you will find the path that is yours to walk on. So that's what I want to offer with the 7 of Spades and the Clouds. That was for Virgo. Next up we have Libra, and here we have the Stork. Okay, so now the Stork represents change, and change for the better. It represents a situation improving. Now, it can also be about migration. So this could be a move. So this could be a literal change in geographic location, yeah? But it could also be like, what are you willing to do to change the situation for the better if you're experiencing a challenging time? Right? So that's the first thing. The other thing with the store card for me, it represents two things. It can represent something being delivered, right? Because I grew up at a time where I was conditioned to believe that storks delivered babies, yeah? So it could just be a matter of something that maybe is in its infancy, right? It's being delivered, it's coming your way, right? So be on the lookout for that. It can also be like I talked about earlier with the Two of Hearts. This could be a nod to manage your expectations, right? Because storks delivered babies to expectant mothers, yeah? So there's another nod for expectations, right? So it could be a matter of you maybe needing to change your expectations around relationships, right? And so that's a nice segue to the insert, which is the Seven of Hearts. So now I talked about relationships, right? Hearts is the suit about relationships, how we relate to other people, right? And so the 7, like I talked about with the previous card, is a number of improvement, right? So this could be about improving a relationship, right? Something changing for the better means I'm feeling better about it. So it could be about a relationship or some other type of experience, but you feel better about it, right? This could even the process of the suit of hearts can be about healing. So, feeling better maybe either emotionally, right? Hearts being about feelings and emotions, or physically speaking, I feel better. And that would maybe imply maybe even spiritual healing, right? Maybe some spiritual healing modality or technique has played a part in your feeling better. Right? So those are some of the things that I want to offer with the Seven of Hearts. And as I was feeling like I was wrapping up, it could also be about maybe improving a relationship, and there's some sort of healing that is taking place in that relationship, yeah? And it could even be, as I'm putting the card down, maybe a need to heal a relationship for you, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that as it resolves itself, that the healing is going to be mutually beneficial, or mutually speaking, could be a matter of maybe you need to do some healing so you can move on from a relationship, right? That idea about change, right? Change for the better, moving on, yeah? So maybe in order for you to move on, you have to allow yourself the process of healing that relationship. And the other person doesn't necessarily have to be present for that, yeah? So that's what I want to offer with the Seven of Hearts. That was for Libra. And now we are wrapping up with the last sign, Scorpio. So if you are a Scorpio person and you hung out all this time, thank you so much for your patience. Let's get to your card. And here we have the Bear. So the first thing I want to offer, the Bear, is a card of power and strength, right? It's about being a force of nature, yeah? So that could be one way to describe you, or it's a matter of being mindful of people who want to exude or exert force on you, yeah? So it's a matter of, be mindful of maybe what you are being quote unquote forced into, especially by people who may be in positions of authority, yeah? That is one aspect of the Bear. The Bear is an authority figure card for me, right? And it could just be a matter of how can you be your own boss this season, right? Because I just heard the expression, I'm a boss, right? So how can you be the boss of your own life? That could be about you reclaiming your own sense of personal power, you taking more control of your life, right? But it starts with you making that declaration, right? That I am a powerful person, or I'm reclaiming my power. Just like I'm hearing that Congresswoman who talks about reclaiming her time. Yeah, her name escapes me in the moment, and I'm sure somebody will drop it in the comments to remind me. But she talks about claiming her time. I'm claiming my time. I'm claiming my time. Or I'm reclaiming my time, right? So it could be about of you reclaiming your own sense of personal power, right? And it implies being strong enough to do it, because now I'm hearing the Cher song in my head, Strong Enough, which is one of my favorite Cher songs, right? Right? So it could just be a matter of being strong enough, right? So now, let's take a look at the playing card insert. Oh, before I go on to the Bear could also be about managing your resources, yeah? Much like the Fish card earlier, I talked about wealth and abundance and finances and cash flow, yeah? This card is also about resources. So two things. It could be being more hands-on, and that could be literal and metaphorical when it comes to your resources, or it could just be about being more resourceful, right? In a particular situation or experience. Yeah. Okay, now, King of Clubs. Now, he shares a similar meaning as the Bear card for me. So this is not one where they kind of mesh together nicely. The King of Clubs is a card that talks about being a boss, a supervisor, a manager, right? So we have this idea about management. So it could be, you dealing with an issue that involves a manager or supervisor or leader on your job or maybe in your business, right? But it could also be a matter of I'm going to, manage my own sense of self, either my own personal being or my external world and how I move about, either in relationships, finances, things of that nature. My resources, what's available around me, right? But it could also represent, now, this would make this card a person card, right? Playing card inserts, if they're a court card, usually implies that this could be a person too. So again, we have this dual message about, maybe an external boss, leader, supervisor, authority figure, right? And that could imply, attached to the clubs, that somebody wants to be helpful. Usually for me, the King of Clubs is somebody who wants to be helpful to you, right? But it could be a person of influence, right? Clubs is the suit of the public and something of the social nature. So this could be somebody who has some sense of influence. So this could be a public figure, or maybe somebody with a sense of a public presence or social presence, yeah? And as I'm saying that, it makes me feel like somebody who knows people, yeah? So maybe you connecting, being resourceful enough to connect with somebody who knows people and can get things done, right? Because the suit of clubs, it's about progress, right? So either you are managing yourself and getting progress done, yeah, you are taking the power back, you are large and in charge, so to speak, and you are doing your thing and you're making the progress, you're seeing the progress, yeah? Or there's somebody who's going to have some influence or who's influential is going to help you, right? And maybe because he has those resources at his disposal, yeah? So that is what I want to offer to Scorpio, and that wraps up this month's lightning round oracle card pull session. So if you hung out with me all this time, thank you so much for giving me the gift of your time. I hope that you got something valuable out of this session. And as I wrap up, I look forward to seeing you in this same space next month as we move through yet another lightning round, if I can get the word out, oracle card pull session. So until then, be well, take care, and have a wonderful month.